Hey guys, it's Mike, and Amazon came, and when Amazon comes, they leave me things I don't need, but things that I really like. So, today I'm going to be reviewing the Tezzare 60% keyboard. Now, I got interested in this keyboard for a number of reasons. I will say I paid for this keyboard out of my own funds. First of all, it's got pudding-styled keycaps. I didn't have a keyboard with pudding keycaps yet, and I couldn't see myself putting a whole set of them on. So it's got that going for it. It's also got browns, but they're not normal browns. We'll talk about that once we actually unbox the keyboard. But the box is very plain, very minimal. I like that. Let's see. I'm gonna pull tab here. And there's the keyboard, front and center. I'm gonna pull the keyboard out. First impressions of the keyboard, it's got a decent amount of heft to it. I like it. I like the case. It's a very familiar design. It's actually kind of reminds me of this other keyboard I have, which I plan to do some keyboard comparisons here. The Tezzare TK61 mechanical keyboard. As stated, this has brown style switches. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see what else they included. Got the Tezzare. Thank you for choosing our key. And they got a link to download the software to configure the keyboard. There is software with this keyboard. I'm not going to cover that in this video because, well, the MacBook Pro is right behind me. I'm not going to be booting into Windows for the software, but they've also got a YouTube link here. Ooh, there's like a design embossed on this card. I never noticed that. That's actually kind of nice. Okay, they did include instructions. It's a nice hard card. Show you how to replace the keycap. They show you how to replace the switch. They show kind of an overview of the keyboard here. And, oh, that's nice. They've got some information on the back about how to remap keys, the function keys. Remapping keys, unfortunately, requires the software, but they do kind of show you everything else you need to know about this area. Interesting the way they've laid out the arrow keys on this keyboard. We've got multimedia controls and backlight settings additionally, along with function keys that you can get to on this keyboard. So once again, I like 60% keyboards. It's a 61 key keyboard, but I like 60% keyboards because, well, I still get all the normal keys that I need, even if I have to hold function. Oh, and that's really nice of them. In the box, they include a dedicated key switch puller. That's really nice. And they also include a dedicated keycap puller. Again, really nice that they included this. And finally, a actually really nice braided USB Type-C cable. I would guess that this is just standard USB 2 link with a USB-C connector on the end, which is fine. That's okay for a keyboard. I like that it's USB Type-C. This is a fully wired keyboard, by the way. They do make wireless variants of this. I chose not to go for the wireless variant. And now we'll open the plastic together. Okay. Good plastic they use. Okay. So, pretty light. Weighs about as much as any 60% keyboard I've used. A little hollow, but not too bad. If anything, that just kind of, gives you a reason to open this keyboard up and modify it. Let's see, key switches. Ooh, these sound interesting. Pull off one of these keycaps here. These are the pudding style keycaps, and the reason these pudding keycaps were developed is, I guess, to allow the RGB to shine through. They call them pudding because it's kind of a two-stack design here. I'm not sure of the material. They are fairly thick. I will have to let you know if they start to wear. I know that if the texture starts to wear off, they are ABS, and if it doesn't ever wear, it's PBT. But they are at least double shot, so that's nice. And this keyboard does have RGB. And we do have Gatoron brown switches here, but these are not just any ordinary Gatoron brown switch. These are actually Gateron optical browns, which is why I was interested in this keyboard to begin with, because I have Cherry MX browns, but I was interested in figuring out what's the hype with the optical switches, right? So this keyboard's gonna get daily use for a little bit, at least a week. I have to say, that feels really nice. It's almost like it feels wet. That's the best way I can describe it. So I did bring some other keyboards to compare it to. My first 60%, this is the KB Paradise V60. I did not buy this board new, I actually bought this board used. This too has Cherry MX browns, but it's got Cherry MX, which I don't think sound as good or feel as good. Granted, these are brand new Gateron browns, but I think honestly, Gateron and Kale are kind of winning at Cherry's game. This one's definitely a little quieter, but I like the sound profile of this one better. Okay, so I also have my Keychron K2. I got this keyboard and put some PBT double shot keycaps on. These were also Amazon finds. These have Gateron reds in them. I think the case definitely sounds better on the Tezzare keyboard. The Keychron is a little pingy. Might also just be the Gateron reds in this keyboard, but I'm not happy with the way I don't know, I'd say it's just as hollow as the other one, but something about the way this keyboard sounds, it's not as good as this one. The King, well, half of the King anyway. Here's half of the ErgoDox. This has Kale purple switches on it, which are okay. They're kind of about Cherry MX brown tier in terms of tactility. But yeah, I wanted some purple switches, but didn't want to get Zelios yet. On my way to Zelios though. And this, it's definitely not as nice as the ErgoDox. But the ErgoDox is a $300 keyboard, whereas the TK61 costs $50 right now. Now this keyboard was on sale when I bought it, luckily. That definitely helps, but even at its ordinary price tag of 80 bucks, I'd say that if you're in the market for a 10 keyless keyboard, this might be a good contender. It's got a good sound profile right off the bat. And we have RGB on this board. It is hot swappable, but only with other Gateron optical switches. They do offer this in Gateron red, Gateron brown, Gateron blue, and I believe there's another one, Gateron black, and they're all optical variants. So if you get one switch and you decide that you don't like this type of switch, the good news is you can still hot swap it for another optical variant, but you're not going to be able to buy a box of Kale navies and put them on this keyboard. It's just not compatible with them. These will work great in the ErgoDox. I have talked about this board long enough. Well, let's plug it in before my laptop dies. Head end. Oh, okay. You know, that's actually kind of a decent look. Okay, so I kind of get the pudding keycaps now. Caps lock indicator not especially apparent. It looks like they do have a little indicator LED on there, but yet the LED in the key switch changes color, so that kind of tells me that this keycap set may not be specific to this keyboard. I'll do function. Ooh, hold on. Okay, that's nice. Not a lot of keyboards do that. Not even my well, no, that's not true. My ErgoDox will do that if I program it to, but it's nice that this keyboard does something like this out of the box, kind of highlight all the buttons that have specific function keys on them, or secondary functions, you know. Do function space. And that has changed our light mode from flowing to solid. We're flowing again. I mean, obviously the optical switch thing kind of has its own benefits besides just response time, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to take advantage of like gaming hardcore enough to really notice the difference between an optical and a non-optical switch, because when I game, I'm gonna bottom out anyway, you know, so I'm not necessarily looking for the fastest response time. I'm just looking for a keyboard that's comfortable to press and bottom out on for long periods of time. So I should state again, this keyboard, I purchased this with my own funds. I was not contracted by this company to review it. It was a good deal. I thought I'd buy it. And honestly, for 50 bucks that I paid for it, and it's on sale right now, I don't know how long the sale is going to last. I don't know if it's a new MSRP. I don't know if they have a new model coming. And at 50 bucks at that price point, you know, I'm not necessarily looking at new Amazon keyboards. I'd usually be looking for used deals like this KB Paradise, but honestly, I really feel like this keyboard is a lot better than this used decent keyboard. But that'll have to wait for the full review. We'll see if I can do it. We'll see if I hate this keyboard after a week. It's definitely not going to be able to sway me away from the ErgoDox. Let's just say that right now. But it is a very good, very high quality budget option, I must say. All right, so that's going to kind of conclude for this unboxing and first impressions, rather long first impressions, but that's going to do it for this video. Until next time, guys, I'll see ya.